Welcome to our podcast, Broker Banner Denver, where we are breaking down barriers to home ownership. I'm your host, Kim Davis, the real estate expert.
And I'm Patrick Williams, the mortgage guy. We're here to inform and educate about the home buying and financing process.
Yay. And on today's episode, we are going to talk about some March stats that came out for from last year to this year to last year. And then we're also going to touch base on the top 10 reasons why people move in 2024. And also, Patrick is going to give an update on the interest rates since we are now in April.
We are in April, and we had some new numbers come out this morning on jobs. So
we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And then I guess
we'll banter maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, it's opening day.
Broker banter.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Well, it's opening day here
Yes.
in Colorado. I know the season started, but it's our home opener
We're
today.
filming on Friday the 5th.
Yeah.
And not really too excited about the Rockies.
I don't
this
know
year.
that anybody is.
Yeah.
I mean, they so far have played pretty much poopy.
Yeah. They had that, was that first game, the actual first game,
Yeah, it was
season
like
opener. They lost, 15
blown out. I think they scored like 12 runs in one inning. Yeah, it was brutal. And they've been outscored. I saw something like 76-12 or something.
Well, you know, when Denver is a pro sports city.
We are. We've got all four teams, and I think when you play well, the fans get excited around here. Yeah.
So would you call that fair weather fans or bandwagon fans?
Yeah, a little bit. But I think there's like the diehards who live and die by their team. Broncos are number one. They always probably will be in this town. It's been a long, hard stretch.
It has
here, and I think we're in for another rough year.
It really has.
Yeah.
Stop.
But
I have season tickets and. That's not good.
No, it's not. But and then we have the Rockies. Again, rough. I think it's going to be a long, rough year. I think this is the first time in over 20 years, or ever, maybe even, that the home opener is not sold out.
I know. That's what I was going to say. If you are not selling out.
The home opener it's like a holiday.
Yeah,
I remember going and getting, Bloody Marys first thing in the morning and just like getting after it right away. It was like a holiday.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, part of me wants to go. It might be fun, but for
it's always
Colorado,
fun.
For Rockies games, it's really just about hanging out with friends, having a beer, a hot dog.
You can go to the bar for free, though.
Exactly.
Right?
Or you could get a ticket for like $5 to go to the Rockies,
that's the problem. So here's, I think, the issue with the Rockies is that it's too much fun to go to Coors Field. Like, it's such a nice night, summer night, it's just great. But so people go regardless of how good or bad the Rockies are. And I think
maybe not, because you're seeing
not this year.
An opening day. And so maybe fans are saying, hey, we need some changes.
Well,
who knows?
Who knows? I don't know that we'll ever really see any big changes with the current ownership.
But that being said, Nuggets and Avs both made the playoffs, so that's great.
Yeah, I think they've clinched. Yeah. I think we've got a couple teams that can go deep into the playoffs here.
And I think, have we talked about like possibility of 2 MVPs, right? McKinnon and Avs, and then Joker for Nuggets.
Yeah, I think. I don't know how you don't vote both of them MVPs. I mean, the seasons that they're having. And McKinnon went on that home point streak. He scored 35 home points in a single.
Jokic didn't get it last year, so who knows?
Yeah, but he also didn't have a championship at this point last year. We'll see. I think it's pretty tough to not vote for the Joker as MVP. But again, I am a homer, so we'll see.
Me too.
And I know
we are definitely
there's a bias
skewed.
with the Rocky Mountains seems to get the shaft. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we're a smaller market.
We are.
Yeah,
we are.
Did you see that there is a new law in Colorado that lets motorcycles drive in between your cars? You know how that's been happening
lane splitting. Lane splitting.
Yes.
So, out in California, it is. I mean, I cannot imagine some of these guys doing, 70 miles an hour through like sitting traffic.
What if I'm changing lanes and splat? So that being said, I mean, I have not been on a motorcycle since my 20s, but they did say there are some, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh-huh,
that was very nice.
Yeah.
But they did say in the article that I read about the law is that they can only do it if you're going 15 miles per hour or less.
Right.
So it's not like what is happening currently. These motorcyclists.
They don't. Well, so motorcycles are air cooled, and so that, like, your car has a radiator that keeps the motor cool, whereas a motorcycle is air cooled. So if it's sitting and running in traffic, and has no airflow, they overheat.
Right.
So I think that's part of the reasoning.
They said that the reasoning was that when you are stopped and you're on a motorcycle and you're not passing, then they are sitting there in like 100-degree weather, if that's the case, and they're sucking up fumes. So that's not good for the person's health. But I'm thinking more of safety. Like I'm fine. You know what? At 15 miles per hour, I think that wouldn't bother me, right? If someone does like kind of slowly turn, then, and they do accidentally get hit, they're probably not going to die. But when you're going 70,
so the motorcycle's only allowed to do 15 miles an hour, or it's when the traffic is slowing down to slower than
to 15 or less, they are allowed to pass in the middle lane. But as you see right now, when you're going down I-25, which just happened to me yesterday, I was talking to your wife on the phone actually, and I was like, just sitting there, where was I? Going to show a house in downtown Denver, and 5 motorcyclists going 80, 90 miles an hour passing. And that, for me, is not safe. Like, I'm scared for their safety. Like, I'm not as worried about myself in a car. Yeah. But if I decided to change lanes, which I'm right there at the intersection, I'm getting off of, what is it? 6th Avenue onto I-25. Yeah. Gonna take Auraria Parkway, and they're passing me right there, and I'm like, that is not smart.
Well, I mean, my experience out in California was we were stopped. Yeah. We were like, stop and go traffic. We're doing 5 miles an hour, if that, and these motorcycles just came through the middle of the lanes, and they were probably doing like 60, 70 miles an hour.
Right.
I mean,
that's scary, but so supposedly if you're 15 miles or less on the highway, they can pass you. So let's just
be ready. I think
be ready and be safe.
I didn't realize that had been passed. So that's interesting.
Just passed. So that's the update on Denver news. I guess.
Okay. Well, thank you, Kim, for that story.
Speaking of another story, Channel 7 News has a article in there about listings are up in the Denver market, and so just $30,000 year over year for increase in home prices.
So the median
home price,
home price in Denver from compared to last March to this March,
correct,
is up how much?
$30,000 or about 5% is what they're saying. 5%. So they're saying like last year the price was the median. Or average, let's say median, not average, median.
Okay,
home
price
that
is different.
Was $590. Well, median is like here's the high, here's the low, and it's just right in the middle. But average is different. But average can be skewed. They're
sometimes.
Usually pretty close.
Yeah, but average can be skewed by the higher home prices. Like the $10 million listings.
Correct. So the median home price, $595 is what it is currently, and that was the end of March of this year, and then from last year it was $567.
So what happened to the crash? Like I just feel like everybody was waiting for, with interest rates as high as they are, home prices they've got to come down. We didn't see that.
Yes. And I do have some buyers who are like, should I get in the market, or we're waiting? And of course, as we've said, as we always say, don't wait.
No.
And so as you can see, this right here, it's from a separate source. It's from 7 News, who of course is getting information from our MLS system.
That's correct.
Which is, real estate based. Obviously, it's our Metro List system. What is a multiple listing service is what MLS stands for. And so, of course, they're pulling it from there, but $567,000 to $595 median.
So we're looking at an average home price in the Denver area of right at about $600,000.
So it's not going down.
It's not going to go down. And I think at this point, if it didn't go, like last year was the year that it was supposed to go down.
Right.
And we're seeing a 5% appreciation is pretty healthy. Mm-hmm. I mean,
that's more in the normal ranges. What we've seen the last since COVID has been little bit crazy. You never know. Like we had said earlier, if interest rates went down to 5%, you never know what's going to happen. We'll probably see more than that. But since they've been
coming down, but they've been coming down slower than what everybody anticipated. I think the difference is that inventory is still really tight. And it's a simple supply and demand, right? So if there isn't enough inventory, we have, I think the last time we talked about inventory, you said like less than a 30-day supply of homes on the market. So that's a really tight inventory. And when you go into supply and demand, inventory is low. Demand is still pretty good. I mean, I know people are getting multiple offers on listings if they're priced right.
That is true.
So
I had a listing actually that I just listed on Wednesday, and we are under contract already.
Nice, congratulations.
Less than 24 hours later. So
right. So that shows that the demand is there. There is.
Yes, there's still a market, and you're seeing things, start to go move again.
Yeah,
pretty
for
quickly.
sure.
And interest rates aren't any better. We'll talk about that, I guess, here in a little bit. But
thanks.
well,
they're not worse. So
that's good.
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing that we wanted to kind of touch base on is top 10 reasons why people are moving in 2024.
Well, that's been a big topic of conversation. Everybody's called it the golden handcuffs. We had the lower interest rates a few years ago. People got into those rates, and now they're stuck in their home. They don't want to leave because if they leave, they're going to have to buy at a higher interest rate.
Right.
And so that has kind of locked people into their house, even if they're not necessarily happy there.
Right.
So I think we are starting to see that loosen up.
Right.
And people are just getting a little more comfortable with where the market is.
Yeah, they're starting to see, hey, 6% is the norm now. And it took a little while for that to happen. But yeah, they're saying if we want to move, this is what it is.
This is what it is.
And they're getting tired of
waiting.
Of waiting.
Yeah. And I do think that, there's a lot of good reasons to move, which we're going to talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so, okay, here are the top 10 reasons why people are moving in. This is from a company that really does a lot of real estate coaching and real estate, and their names are Brian Buffani Company. And so he came out with a list. They went and did a survey of why people are moving. And so the first one is family ties, which I would think more of why family ties. So
no, isn't that how the song goes? The old, with Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox.
Isn't that the?
That did not sound like it
No?
at all, though. Do it again.
No, I can't do it again
because it wasn't the right song.
No, I'm pretty sure it
probably.
was. I'm pretty.
Right.
Maybe we can get it and put it up so we can confirm. But yeah, I don't remember the words. That was an old show. When was Family Ties on? We might be dating
80s,
ourselves.
80s,
yeah,
80s.
it was definitely mid to
because
late
Michael
80s.
J. Fox was
like
kid,
Back to the Future.
And then he kind of grew up. Yeah, it was during. Yeah, and that was
when did he go Back to the Future? 85.
85.
1985.
Yeah,
October 5th,
right.
1955.
That's where. Okay, but it came out in the late 80s.
In the mid to late 80s.
85, 87, something like that.
Yeah.
But Family
one of the best
Ties-
80s movies ever, by the way.
It is.
Back to
I
the
agree.
Future.
I've watched it, and it holds.
It is.
You know
It's
what I mean?
great. You can buy a flux capacitor from AutoZone.
Well, you can buy the Nikes that he wears too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where they have the self tying laces.
Yes, but I think they're expensive. I don't know.
I think they're a couple $200-300, which
that's not too
for
bad.
Nikes anymore.
That's what it seems to be anymore.
Yeah, the sneakerheads out there probably say,
What do you think? Family ties being kids,
okay,
parents
so
moving
a
towards
reason
kids,
to
maybe,
move,
or kids. Yeah.
So I would imagine grandparents maybe relocating to be closer to their kids and their grandkids.
Yes.
Maybe
parents moving close to their kids.
Yep. Or
maybe.
passing relatives like your grandparents maybe. Oh, is that a different?
We'll get to that one.
Sorry. So family ties. I would say, moving to be closer to family.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
And then the second one is need a bigger space, which I think we saw that a lot during COVID.
Well, with all of the remote learning and remote working, it's like we need a home office. We need more space because we're all here together all the time.
Yeah. You know what I'm realizing is I'm going through this list. I should have went 10 up to 1, but instead I started at 1 and we're going to 10. So I don't know. So that's 2.
That's all right. I guess next time you'll learn from David Letterman, who used to do the top 10.
Yes.
Okay.
See, you're aging yourself
I know.
again.
I'm old.
David
I'll admit
Letterman was this guy. Just kidding.
He was kind of like Jimmy Fallon.
He was.
Jimmy Fallon. No, Jimmy Fallon took over the Tonight Show for Jay Leno.
That was after. No.
So it's
Conan
Carell.
O'Brien took over for Jay Leno, and then
no, not really. I don't think he ever did.
Yeah, he did. He only lasted like a year or two, and then Fallon came in.
So Steve Carell, I think, took over the late show for David Letterman.
Stephen Colbert.
The Daily Show guy. He was from the Daily Show.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
okay.
on Comedy Central.
Yeah,
You're right. And then there's the other guy who kind of just started his own thing.
James Corden. But he's no longer
that was the
around.
late one.
Yeah.
No, Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah. So there's your late night rundown.
Yeah.
We could probably name some more. I mean, I could go back
But
to
we
Johnny
can't-
Carson
but
if you
We
want.
probably can't name anyone on SNL anymore. But okay, moving on.
No.
Need a bigger space. I think
Bigger
that
space.
explains
It's
itself.
pretty
right?
self-explanatory.
Yeah, bigger space. Okay,
More
number
square
3.
footage.
Love the rate, but house no longer fits our needs. I think we just touched on
I
that.
think
didn't
we did.
Yeah,
That
golden
is the
handcuff.
golden handcuffs.
And they're
yeah.
finally saying no longer, not going to wait.
Yeah.
Number 4, legacy real estate.
Legacy. So that's what I was kind of.
That is kind of what you're getting to. So if someone passes, usually is considered
The home's
legacy,
left to
right.
the heirs, and
Correct.
then they are they can sell it or whatever they would like to do with it. But so legacy.
Legacy.
So yeah,
Correct.
Yep. And you know what? Here's the thing. I mean, life happens, right?
Yeah, correct.
People get married. People have kids. People pass
get-
away.
People get divorced.
People
Yeah.
get divorced.
Yeah.
Things happen, and people's circumstances changes. And so, no matter what the interest rates are, what the market is like, there's always going to be real estate transactions.
If people decide to sue National Association of Realtors,
That happens.
real estate will continue to go on and move forward and
Keep on
for
keeping
better or
on.
for worse.
That's
we'll
right.
see, but not that we need to beat that dead horse anymore.
No,
But
we're gonna keep.
If you have questions, of course,
We
we're
would
always
love
up.
to
Yes.
continue to talk about the NAR settlement, National Association of Realtors.
Correct, NAR.
Yeah, but there's still it's an evolving situation. More
Yeah.
and more information's coming out.
Exactly. We'll see what happens.
July is really the point where things have to be
change. So yeah, just
Yep, we've got time.
really in the end, what it is about over disclosing. That's
Yeah.
all. Realtors. Commissions have always been negotiated. This is not something new. It's just us as realtors needing to over communicate what that means. And
Which-
that's it. And which is good.
To me, I think the realtors that I've worked with who do it well
Right.
do that anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
So-
it's nothing new.
Right.
It's
Right.
just now we're going to make sure everybody is doing it.
Correct.
Not just the good ones.
Correct.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Oh, thanks. All right. So
All right,
we
number
were at
five.
number 5.
Number 5, they want a vacation home. I want a vacation home.
I do too. I was thinking everybody should get their own vacation. Like we have one mountain and one beach and one,
and then as a friend
and one
group,
lake.
we can all just
that would be
jump
sweet.
from house to house to
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
So I'll get the lake house.
Depends on where's your lake house. Michigan?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, because
Okay.
I prefer Michigan over Wisconsin. No offense,
You might have to talk to somebody.
I know
I don't
Paula
know.
might be upset with that only because Michigan water is way clearer. I'm just telling you.
You know what? There's something about the lake house though. They're
lake
fun.
houses are great, and
Yeah.
I love freshwater versus saltwater.
It's a lot nicer.
And you don't have to worry about sharks or eels.
I
Or
don't-
those jellyfish that sting you, or I've been stung by jellyfish.
I heard a
I'm
funny
afraid
I heard a
of
funny
sharks.
joke about a wife getting stung by a jellyfish and then her asking her husband to pee on it. And the husband peed on the jellyfish and said, "That's what you get for stinging my wife." I don't think that's how it's supposed to work. We're getting way off topic
That wasn't
today.
even a joke. That
No.
was just a story that you
it
told.
was-
But
it was
okay,
kinda funny.
whatever. It was funny.
Yeah. All right. I made
Okay.
you laugh.
Want a vacation home. 6. Lots of equity, lots of choices. So we saw that here in Denver.
Yes.
Right? A lot of people who did not sell right at the beginning of COVID, and we saw those big spikes were moving, and they
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
had tons of extra cash, so they could have the same mortgage,
Right.
but move up in house for the more space, or
Yeah.
for the
or even
move
the people
down and
now
not have
not a mortgage at all.
mortgage at all.
And I think that's where a lot of those cash buyers are coming from, which
Yes.
we're saying 20 to 25% of homes in the Denver market are owned free and clear.
Yeah.
So
Is that a true statistic or a
Mm-hmm.
made up one?
no, I'm pretty sure I saw it somewhere. I can't quote the source because that was like a good 10 episodes back, I think.
Okay.
But maybe we can go back and refer to it.
Or they can listen
Or
to
it could
that
be like,
podcast.
yeah, it could be like the 97% of statistics that are just made up.
Right. Which
Yeah.
I think it tends to be me who makes them up. I don't mean to.
Well,
my memory, I think I just don't remember where I hear stats from, and then I just make stuff up. Like,
Maybe we should start
Colorado
holding
being
each other accountable. That if we're gonna throw out some stats, we've got to source.
I am. That's
quote our
why I
sources.
think I am doing that.
You did that today.
Yes,
Nice.
I did. Yay
so
for me.
are we at number 6?
6. Lots of actually. Okay, so we're at 7. Upgrade the neighborhood.
Okay.
Which that's the reason why people are thinking about moving. So remember that. So some of these could go, but these are the answers during the survey that people gave.
So
upgrade
they're wanting to move from maybe an older neighborhood to a newer neighborhood that has like some more amenities, like a pool,
Correct.
or something like that.
Correct. Or maybe
some green space, or
correct. Or maybe from a first-time home buyer neighborhood to a nicer neighborhood, and nicer being just bigger.
Which some of these reasons could overlap as well,
Correct.
right? Like,
Correct.
but sometimes it is. That is the primary reason. Like, I would like to be in a better neighborhood, but along with that, maybe that gives me some more square footage.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that being said, I think 8 kind of goes with something else that we have talked about too, time to downsize.
Yeah.
Right? Which we just kind of said, hey, some people who had a lot of equity but downsized, and so that's the reason. And number 9, out of area relocation. So moving to a different state.
Got a new job.
Or you're
the
remote and you decide you want to live in Colorado because we have great outdoor activities.
Yeah. I think a lot of that, it does seem like the return to office has change things a little bit. It did seem like there for a little while, it was like, I can live wherever I want.
Right.
And how
and
fantastic
now they're like,
is
come
that?
back to the office.
Yeah. Which, is
My
what it is. I
office
mean, what are
is
you
my
going to do?
car.
You either go back to the office if that's what they want, or you find a new job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So out of area relocation. And
Okay.
then number 10, change of work and change of life. So I think that's kind of what we just talked about. I don't know, change of life. Maybe graduated from
Empty
college.
nest?
Oh, yeah. Empty nesters.
Empty nest.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Divorce.
Divorce.
Or maybe marry, right?
Marrying,
Or,
yes.
something like that. Like
Had
second marriages.
children.
I talked to some buyers the other day, and they both own their own home, right? They were both divorced, and now they've married, and so they have 2 homes. They want to sell both of those homes and buy their own house together, right? So
they should just rent both of those homes. I'm just saying.
Well,
hold the real estate.
you can do that. I mean, there's a way to access the equity in those homes to,
Right.
I mean, there's definitely some good reasons to do that. If you can cash flow them and access the equity and buy the new house at the same time, if you cash out of both of them and put a big down payment on the new house, it just kind of depends on where you're at. I know rentals.
I agree.
Is a good way to create some income,
Right.
some passive income sources that if you buy them early enough, that could be
Right.
a good source of retirement
That's
income.
hopefully, that's what I'm hoping to do. We'll see.
We'll see.
I mean, I have a couple of rentals, but I'm just saying I would like a few more, but they're not in the state of Colorado.
That's okay. Yeah, but real estate is
Real estate is a great thing to hold on long term. It's a long term game. It's not a short term game. I always tell people that if you're going to buy, especially if it's your principal residence, it's a minimum of a 2 to 3 year hold, right? And I know that a lot of people get scared, especially doing what you do. They're like, 30 years, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. Like 30-year mortgage is really scary.
Who stays in a 30-year mortgage?
I mean, we've bought only 2 houses since we've been married.
But how many mortgages did you have on each of those houses?
A lot.
Right.
We refi.
Right. You
a lot.
refinance.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, I think my last home I stayed in for 10 years. I definitely refinanced it at least once. And then I pulled out a line of credit on the equities, right? So I did a HELOC, home equity line of credit. And then my new house, I've been in 5 years. Of course, I refinanced it when rates were nice and low. So I don't know that a lot changes in 10 years.
It does.
You know?
Like you said, a lot of the things that they're saying on here, right?
Yeah.
Family ties, you may move, you may out of area relocation, change of work, change of life.
Yeah. I know we have a lot of friends who have their children are graduating this year. It's their youngest. I mean, it's a new stage of life.
Correct.
And so when your kids go off to college, you start looking around your big house and you're like, why do we have all this space?
Exactly. But I also know the opposite. There are people who would normally move, but don't want to move because of the equity. And they're like, hey, I'm going to just keep this big house, which I think, once again, we had said we're starting to see that change a little bit.
We are.
Yeah. So that's really all that I have for the real estate side. How about an update on interest rates or mortgages? What's going on in that neck of the woods?
Yeah, so it's been an interesting week.
Did you feel like I just became Mr. Rogers? That neck of the woods, when he used to change his shoes and the train.
Put on his cardigan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Dating ourselves a lot today. Mr. Rogers.
We
Johnny
are
Carson.
in our mid-40s.
I'm early 40s. Kim's in her mid-40s. I tried to say 20s earlier. So
I know. Thank you.
Yeah. So we had really, interest rates have held steady this week, but there's been a lot of news between the Fed and jobs report
Because
and
I know-
CPI last week, and
I know that stock market kind of took a hit
did.
yesterday.
it did. So
Long-term, stock market's long-term too.
that's right. I mean, there's a lot of day traders out there, and
Right,
they probably know more than we do.
Right,
but,
absolutely.
No, so interest rates have held steady. Jobs report came out today. Jobs came in over 300,000. So that's a number that was higher than expected, which
That's a good number.
it's a good number, but we were looking for bad numbers
interest
for
rates to come
interest
down.
rates, the
So
Fed
yay,
really
everyone has a job.
We're
Woo!
happy that there are so many,
Right.
but a big part of those 300,000 jobs were like federal government jobs and like healthcare and things like that. So I think it might be
Skewed?
an artificially high number, and every single jobs number that has come out over the last 6 months has later been revised down. So I think people are learning not to react too quickly to these numbers because the bond market is holding steady. We're kind of at key levels right now, but it is at about the highest points it's been all year. But with that said, the Fed is still maintaining that they are committed to 3 rate cuts this year. So
Really? Still?
Still,
Well, that's good.
It is. It is good news. I think they're a little more.
But still
I
no
think
change.
cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
So the inflation numbers are still higher than what they wanted. They wanted to be at 2%. We're right about 3%. Last fall they were coming down steadily and quickly, but then this first quarter they've kind of just been
Kind of up and down, but
stuck.
kind of
Yeah.
steady.
Steady.
I would say steady. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Low 7s, high 6s. Kind of.
It hasn't been as volatile as it was.
Correct.
Last fall we were at 8%, and we haven't seen that again. But yeah, we're hovering right around 6.875 to 7.125, which is okay.
Right.
Fannie and Freddie did revise their year-end outlook.
Forecast, I think you told us that last week, right? That they do not expect it to go below
6 anymore.
So-
No, we're looking probably, I think at the year end, probably around 6.5, which is fine. That means we're going to continue to steadily decrease over time. We're not going to see any big drastic drops. But I think that creates a healthy market,
Right. And yes, we know that the Fed for a long time held interest rates artificially down. And so this is probably
They were at 0 for a really long time.
Exactly. So this is probably more of what a normal market looks like.
Yeah.
And what to expect in the future.
The Fed funds rate is at a 22-year high where it's at now between 5.25 and 5.5. So they are going to start dropping, but I think it's not going to be anything drastic. Affordability with the values that we have in Denver and the higher interest rates, it's tough.
It is
but
tough.
there's some tools that we have that we can help you figure out.
Correct.
If you find a home, we can figure that out. We can
Correct.
find different products. We can look at different, ways of financing and get you into that home.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. So, thank you for
Yeah.
the update. That was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Thank you.
And I think on that note, that pretty much ends everything we have to say this week, don't you think?
Yeah, I think we could probably go ahead and wrap it up. Weather's beautiful out there.
Yeah.
Go Rockies. I kind of say that with a,
Any win. We'll take
we'll
any
take
win.
it. Yeah, but get out there and enjoy this nice weather.
Yes.
If you do find anything valuable on this podcast, please share it. Give us a like. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube.
Yes. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks.